Hello, good morning.
Would you butter a couple of rolls for me there, please?
I could try the peanut butter.
What kind of gum you chewing?
My breath stinks.
Excuse me?
Fly by night, go away from here.
In the tent for some spring daydreaming, and Keith Costas has worked his way through the entire NL Central, landing on the Pittsburgh Pirates this morning.
We're 5 days in, and the animation does not get any less disturbing as we move on. It gives me nightmares. Nightmare fuel right there. All right, but we're on the Bucks today, Maddie, like you mentioned. And it's easy to forget that they actually started the season off very strong last season. You take a look at how the record broke down, 20-9 out of the gate in April. They were actually in first place in the Central all the way through June 15th. But in fairness, they were only one game over 500 at that point. So the division wasn't exactly robust competition last year. Now, as far as the players, I think you have to start at the hot corner. Brian Hayes finally unseated Nolan Arenado as the NL Gold Glove winner at third base. You see that streak of 10 Gold Gloves from Arenado was snapped. And I get it, the defensive metrics don't always tell the story, but when they're in agreement this way and there's that big of a gap, to Brian Hayes, I think it's time to appreciate what a special defender he is. A platinum glove could be on the horizon for him. And it wasn't just defensively, guys. You take a look at what he did from June on. He was basically on a 30 and 100 pace. Now, he did miss a month in the middle of the season with the back issue. Tried to come back for one game and ended up right back on the IL. So he basically missed all of July. But from June on, pretty darn good offensively to go with that elite defense he had. Now, his partner on the left side of the infield, or at least for now on the left side of the infield, the position change could be in order, O'Neal Cruz. And I keep bringing it up every time that we talk about Elly De La Cruz. I get it. He was one of the most exciting players in the league last year, but everyone acting like we'd never seen anything like this. How about a guy with the same last name in the same division that's played the exact same number of games who's basically the same guy? Now, Cruz missed almost all of last year. You remember he fractured his ankle in April, only ended up playing 9 games. But he gets back to what he was doing and scratching the surface those first couple of years in the league. He can be a special player. But the most special in the entire organization, guys, we haven't seen him in the big leagues yet, but how soon will we see one Paul Skeens? Now, we know he's not going to be a two-way player. He's just pitching now, but I still like to appreciate what he did as a hitter in college, kind of like Bryce Harper. Does it matter that he used to catch and pitch in junior college? No, but does it kind of add to the legend of what a special player he was? Yes, it does, in my opinion, and that is certainly the case with Paul Skeens, one of the most special talents that we've seen come out of the draft. Could be on a Strasburg-like ascent where you see him sooner rather than later, basically major league ready. How do we feel about the Buccos this year, guys? They're projected to finish last in the division, but the odds aren't all that long when you think about how things stack up here. So where do we come down on the Bucks? Here are those numbers for you, Maddie. The second shortest odds for a team predicted to finish last outside of the Red Sox.
You know, I was just thinking of Skeens. I mean, if he can just be Garrett Cole, who was their number 1-1, and keep him at some point if he can be as good as Garrett Cole. O'Neal Cruz coming back is great. We saw Henry Davis last year make his debut. He was solid. Jack Sawinski is a guy that no one ever talks about. Ball comes off his bat as good as any in the game. So they've got some real players there. I think Mitch Keller is going to be is a good pitcher and is going to be only better. Martin Perez, I think, is one over there. So that would be a good veteran to have as well.
There's got to be a point in time where they get it together, right? Where they turn the corner the way the Orioles did in the last year and a half, 2 years. And I think maybe this is that year. Maybe they're getting closer to that year. And if they can do something with Aroldis Chapman, who they signed on a one-year deal, who is likely, I don't know, in my mind, they signed him to deal him the same way the Royals did last year. And the Royals turned that into a really great trade. Maybe the Bucks can do the same thing, and maybe by the end of the year they will have put all the pieces in place to take that step. I don't think they compete for a division title this year, sorry, but I think they're getting close.
I do like, Maddie, to your point, expectations haven't exactly been high, but I like that they've stuck with Shelton so far. You go back to when he was hired, there were 10 managers hired that offseason. Right. He's the only one still left, so a little consistency never hurt anybody.
That's a great point. Great point.